My name is Chloe, and my life is a battlefield. The terrain is the cutthroat world of high-tech venture capital, a glittering, unforgiving landscape of silicon dreams and binary failures. My weapons are a sharp tongue, a sharper mind, and an intuition that has saved my firm millions. My armor is a custom-tailored blazer and a reputation for being relentlessly, unapologetically brilliant. And my nemesis, the constant, infuriatingly competent shadow across the boardroom table, is a man named Ryan Miller. We were a corporate study in opposites. Where I championed visionary, blue ocean strategies, seeing potential in uncharted markets, Ryan was the harbinger of cold, hard reality. If I painted a canvas of limitless opportunity, he would inevitably point out the structural flaws in the frame. He was analytics, I was instinct. He was the immovable object to my unstoppable force. Our interactions were rare and razor-edged, conducted through terse emails and the silent, scathing language of glances during partners' meetings. A raised eyebrow from him could feel like a declaration of war, a dismissive smirk from me, a volley returned. We were fire and water, and our conflict was the steam that powered the engine of our professional lives. But there was a single, sacred corner of my existence where the war did not reach. Tucked away in the encrypted, anonymous depths of the internet was a sanctuary for IT professionals, a forum known as the neural net. It was a place to shed the weight of our titles and the pressure of our personas. There, I was not Chloe the ruthless VC. I was simply Echo. And there was him, Ray. We found each other, quite by accident, in a sprawling philosophical debate about the ethical boundaries of artificial consciousness. While others cited papers and code, Ray spoke of Asimov's laws with the passion of a poet and the precision of an engineer. I, as Echo, countered not with corporate jargon, but with questions about soul and sentience. Our conversation spilled out of the public thread and into a private chat window, and it never truly stopped. Our talks were about everything and nothing. We debated the perfect soundtrack for a life. He argued for the structured complexity of classical music, while I championed the raw emotion of 90s alternative rock. We exchanged passages from books that had shattered and rebuilt our worldviews, from Yuval Noah Harari to Ted Chiang. He confessed his fear of deep space, the vast emptiness haunting him despite his love for astrophysics. I shared my secret terror of mediocrity, the gnawing anxiety that I would look back and realize I had been efficient but not significant. He understood me without words. Ray could read the silence between my typed sentences. He could sense when I'd had a bad day from the cadence of my messages, offering a virtual cup of tea and a funny anecdote. He became my most treasured secret, my sanctuary. After a particularly brutal showdown with Ryan, where he dismantled my proposal with surgical cold precision, I would retreat to my apartment, pour a glass of wine, and find solace in Ray's words. "The world is full of sharks," Echo, he once wrote after I'd vaguely referenced a difficult colleague. "But never forget, you are the tide. You define the currents." I'd seethe about Ryan, and Ray unknowingly would soothe the very wounds his real-world counterpart had inflicted. The intimacy was undeniable, a digital tapestry woven with threads of shared intellect and unspoken vulnerability. After 6 months of this, we decided to meet. I was electric with nervous anticipation. This was it. I was certain I was about to meet my intellectual soulmate, the man who saw the real me beneath the professional armor. We chose a quirky tech-themed cafe downtown, aptly named the Code Cup. I arrived early, choosing a small table near the window, my heart performing a frantic tap dance against my ribs. I smoothed my dress, checked my phone, and watched the door with the breathless hope of a teenager. When it finally swung open and he walked in, my heart didn't just stop. It plummeted through the floor, through the foundation of the building, and into a cold, dark abyss. It was Ryan. My nemesis. My Ray. He saw me. The confident, almost arrogant stride that had carried him into 100 boardrooms faltered. His face, always a masterclass in composed indifference, dissolved into pure, unadulterated shock. We stood there, separated by a mere 10 feet of scuffed wooden flooring, yet a chasm of every barbed comment, every condescending glance, every professional battle yawned between us. "Echo?" He exhaled, his voice barely a whisper. It wasn't the sharp, clipped tone of Ryan Miller VC. It was the warm, familiar, slightly hesitant voice I had come to know so well through text. "Ray," I managed, and my own voice sounded foreign, the name a confession to a crime we had both unknowingly committed. We sat. The silence was a physical presence, thick and suffocating. I stared at him, and my mind began the agonizing, slow process of superimposing the two men. The sharp line of his jaw, which I had always associated with stubbornness, was the same one that had smiled in a pixelated emoji after I'd told a stupid joke. The intense analytical eyes that had so often dissected my proposals were the ones that had once typed, "The way you see the world is like a beautiful, unexpected algorithm." "I can't believe it," he finally said, running a hand through his hair. You hate utility-first design. You said it was soulless. You told me you loved stargazing because it made you feel insignificant in a comforting way, I countered, my voice trembling. And then the dam broke. We started talking, tentatively at first, then with a rushing, bewildered urgency. We laughed, a little hysterically, at the sheer cosmic absurdity of it. He confessed that his cold, calculated professional persona was a defense mechanism, a way to ground my sometimes overly ambitious leaps of faith with data, fearing I would crash and burn. I admitted that my intuition was often fueled by a deep-seated insecurity that pure logic alone was never enough. I realized the strangest thing: we had never truly been enemies. We had been mirrors. In the office, we saw in each other the exaggerated reflection of our own deepest professional fears, his fear of chaotic, unchecked passion, my fear of sterile, emotionless logic. In the chat, under the benevolent cloak of anonymity, we had shown each other our true faces, the dreamer and the architect, both essential, both incomplete. You said you hated apple pastries, I recalled with a wry smile, that they were the most disappointingly utilitarian of desserts. Those were the exact words Ray had used to describe his favorite Snickers bar, a guilty pleasure. And you said your favorite song was Hallelujah, because it was about the perfect beauty of imperfect love, he replied, his gaze holding mine. The memory hung in the air between us, fragile and profound. We sat for over an hour, the coffee in our cups growing cold. We deconstructed our every argument, our every clash, seeing them now for what they were, a twisted, hostile form of dialogue between two parts of the same whole. Everything has changed now. Today, in a strategy meeting, he challenged my user acquisition plan. He pointed out flaws, cited metrics, and presented a counter-argument. But when our eyes met across the polished mahogany table, I didn't see contempt. I saw a challenge, yes, but it was the same spark I saw when he debated the merits of a new programming language with me online, and I smiled back, a small secret curl of my lips. Only the two of us knew that this professional dispute was merely the latest installment in a far more fascinating all-night conversation we'd had about behavioral psychology. We are still rivals, but now it's a game with new rules. The stakes are the same, but the players have been revealed. Now, when I parry his arguments, I know I'm not just debating a colleague, I'm engaging with the man who understands the rhythm of my thoughts better than anyone. I know that behind his analytical facade is a person who is afraid of heights and loves stargazing, a person who sees the soul in the code. And that knowledge makes our every confrontation unbearably, electrifyingly intimate. Who could have possibly thought that the most dangerous, game-changing move in our entire war would be to reveal our greatest vulnerability? The battle continues, but the enemy is gone. In his place is my most worthy opponent and my most unexpected ally,